Hi, this is Terri Levine, the Business Growth Guru. I often get asked about using assessments and using assessment tools, and in particular, one that's most popular is the DiSC. And I've been asked over the years about the DiSC and whether or not I advocate using the DiSC. First, I want to say to you that I've been using assessments for 25, 30 years perhaps. And I believe that they are extremely valuable, and for me, quite frankly, the DiSC has been my favorite assessment tool. What I like about the DiSC is that you begin to understand the behavioral aspects of other people through the DiSC, and therefore you can begin to have more behavioral flexibility. I'll give you an actual example. My husband is a very much a thinker type. He is an engineer kind of guy. And I am much more of a social relator person, but my husband is really more of a director type. Get directly to the point, tell him what you need, and he'll get it done. We owned a company together several years ago, and some of the folks that worked for us would sometimes get Mark on the phone versus Terry, and they'd be like, "Hey, Mark, how you doing? How's your day going?" And Mark would be, "Can I help you?" And they were like, "Wow." They thought he was very rude. Then they'd call me and they'd go, "Hey, Terry, how's your day?" I'd go, "Great, what's going on? What are you doing?" That's my style. I shared after a short amount of time with all of our consultants and employees, I shared our DiSC profiles, and I explained the difference between how one would deal with Mark and deal with Terry. And their eyes opened up and they went, "Oh, that's why he's like that. He's not rude. We get it." And then they were able to speak with Mark and deal with Mark more in his terms so that they became more flexible in their behaviors. I also had all of them do their DiSC profiles, and then Mark and I knew how to work with them, and they knew how to work with each other. When I worked in the rehabilitation industry, I actually hired my team by hiring one D, one I, one S, and one C to be my operations directors, because that way I knew that we would represent all of the behavioral styles. I do think the DiSC is important. I do think that you, first of all, need to know your own style. What is your behavioral pattern? What is it regularly? And what is it under stress? I also think you should know this for every member of your team. Even if you have part-time people or independent contractors, I think it would be very helpful to know how to deliver work and how to ask for work if you know the behavioral style that your folks are working under. One of the big advantages to the DiSC, and one of the reasons I advocate and say yes, use it, is that it can really avoid a lot of unnecessary conflict. So much of conflict at work has to do with people skills. And I believe that it's people skills of not understanding how other people think and how they behave, why they say what they do, or why they email what they do, or why they speak in the way they do. And once you understand someone's behavior as well as your own, I've seen dramatic reduction in conflict of coworkers, of teams, and changing that we versus they mentality, we being us the workers and they being those above us, really understanding each other a lot better. The DiSC also can help understand and deal with diversity. Let's face it, we're all human beings walking around in skin, but we all have a different style of behaving, a different way that we listen, a different way that we hear, a different way we speak, and a different way that in general we behave. I believe very strongly in the DiSC because one of the great things about the DiSC is you can see how you act day to day, regularly without stress, and how you act when we add in stress. Because let's face it, stress happens in the work environment. The folks that work with me on my team, they know that when I get stressed, I shorten my communication. I give shorter directions. When I'm not stressed, I'll elaborate and socialize. When I'm stressed, I get right to the point. So because they understand my behavioral style, and I understand theirs, they know how to better work with me and respond to me, and they also know not to take it personally. So again, the DiSC helps with communication, reducing conflict, diversity. One of the key things that I like about the DiSC, being a former speech-language pathologist, is it really lets us look at styles of communication. And I love to know how the people in my life, and particularly in my business, what style of communication is best for them. So for example, we talked about my wonderful husband, Mark. He's the director type. When I had some valuable information to share with him about a merchant account for my company, I did not say, oh, honey, I want to tell you there's a big change in the merchant account and this is what's happening. That would never work. There'd be this, long Terri discussion, and Mark just wants to get to the point. So I went in with his behavioral style, and I actually printed up a little Word document with the changes, what was happening before, what the changes are after. Being a director, he wants me to get to the point. And I said, Mark, I just want to sum this up for you. Here's what happened, and here's what it looks like. And I handed him the paper. You can really, really be much more efficient in your communication when you have a DiSC profile done. Those in sales, I always recommend using the DiSC. If you sell or you have anyone in your team who sells or does marketing, I recommend doing the DiSC so they understand their own behavioral style. And in fact, if you have the opportunity to ever give this to any of your valuable customers who may really enjoy taking it, you will be doing them a favor by giving them this as a gift. But in addition to that, you'll be learning a lot more about how you can best communicate with your customers. Finally, being a coach, mentor, and consultant, my goodness, the DiSC makes so much sense. It helps us understand our clients, it helps us understand how they communicate, how they think, and therefore it helps me deliver my information in a better way to the people that I serve and that I work with. So have I convinced you? I really believe in the DiSC. I'm a supporter of the DiSC, and regardless of how big or small your business is, I recommend that first you find out what your DiSC personality is, and second, everyone on your team